Welcome to r/Entitled People, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, crazy neighbor knocks on the ceiling. The second story, my grandfather yells at a Karen until she sobs hysterically at a pharmacy. The third story, 2 women offer a restaurant owner a job. The first story is, my neighbor called the cops because we decided to clean our apartment. So my boyfriend and I moved into an apartment in August. It's older, so the floors are super creaky. According to our lease, we're obligated to cover 90% of any room with carpet, except bathroom and kitchen, to help with noise. It turned out our apartment was previously managed as a dorm by the local college, so the floors already have a layer of super thin SH carpet. We also laid down more rugs to help with noise cancellation. Our downstairs neighbor moves in about a month later, and within a month of that starts banging on her ceiling when we get too rowdy. The first couple of times, it happens super late in the living room. Our apartments have the same plan. We were moving around after midnight the first time. Later, she came to talk to us and asked us to keep it down at night. Sure, fair enough. The next time was when we walked it from the airport at 10 p.m. She came up, banged on the door, and talked over my explanation. I told her I was sorry and asked when she was hearing the noise, assuming it was just the cat running around at night. No, she tells me that she knows it's not the cat. She knows it's us, and she doesn't live alone. Okay, weird, but whatever. We started going to bed earlier as we settled into the apartment and our jobs, but the banging only continued. For months, she would hit her ceiling/our floor whenever we walked around. Bed at 10? Bang. Wake up at 5:30 for work? Bang. Sitting on the couch but decide you want snacks? Bang. Around Christmas, she comes up to our door again. My boyfriend answered, and this time I recorded, and I'm so glad I did. This woman came up and looked at my boyfriend in the eye and said, "You have to stop following me." What? I know it's not the cat or the dog or your girlfriend because I know your footsteps. I don't know how you figured it out, but you figured out how to listen to where I am, and you're following me around my apartment, and I'm sick of it. My boyfriend calmly responded that she sounds crazy and that we don't care about her. She again reminded us that she doesn't live alone. Her boyfriend is a small Latino man in his 60s who's very polite and has never said a word to us. Cool, she's insane, whatever. The banging continued with us stomping every time we heard it. She didn't like that, but it made it more fun. We'd already explained the situation to the landlord and the super, and they were on our side. Our town was the first in the US to be locked down under quarantine, so for the first few days the banging gradually increased, until one day this woman lost her mind. I'll admit that we're early risers on the weekends. On this particular Sunday, we ended up waking up super early, but not doing much for the first few hours. We drank some coffee and sat on the couch until almost 11. At that point, we decided to get up and clean the apartment. Homegirl went ape SH. She had to be running from one end of her apartment to the other. She's banging her ceiling so hard that we're convinced she's damaging it. At one point, I hear what sounds like muffled yelling after she followed me into the bedroom. We had plans that day, so we ignored her, finished cleaning, and started to leave. She must have been waiting for us to leave, because for the first time ever, she walked out of her apartment, right as we go to her landing. I was holding the dog while waiting for my boyfriend to come down, as she starts to descend the stairs. Of course, she decides to turn around and say something. Crazy B. Tell your boyfriend to cut it out. Me. Cut what out? Walking? You're hitting the ceiling because of me and the dog moving, not him. CB continues to spew some other dumb SH as my boyfriend gets down to me. She proceeded to stay exactly 3 steps ahead of him, slowing us all the way down the stairs. She tried to block us going out the door at the bottom, but backed off when he just didn't stop moving. She's continuing to yell at him all the way to the parking lot. Of myself and my boyfriend, he's typically the hothead while I'm the calm one. Amazingly, he kept his calm the whole time, calling her only a crazy lady and ignoring her as he walked past her in her car to the dumpster. As I passed her car, she decided to continue talking at me, and I was just peeved not to engage. CB, I'm serious, it's done. Me, okay, what do you want us to do, crawl? I already told you we have a 60-pound dog, and we're all just walking around. CB talking while I talked, so I don't hear everything, and you need to remember that I don't live alone. Me, okay. B, neither does I. You see my boyfriend right there, so what's your point? By the way, that's the 3rd or 4th time you've said that, and that could be taken as a threat. CB, you think that's a threat? Fine, it is. Me, cool, I'm calling the cops. CB, okay, me too. We both call the cops and they pull up. They talked to her first and then come talk to us. I don't know what she told them, but when they came to talk to us, I told them everything she'd said and done for the past 6 months. The officer explained that it was a civil matter that would have to be dealt with by the landlord, but assured us that they explained to her that it's perfectly acceptable to walk around your apartment at 11 a.m. on a Sunday. They also told her not to knock on our door ever again, that she's not allowed to bang on our floor over footsteps at any point. For a couple nights, she got back at us by banging at 1:30 a.m. to wake us up. We had already reached out to our landlord again, and this time, he told us he'd see what her problem is. That's still not the last of his troubles with her, though. We ended up talking to the people that live below her and telling them about the banging. It turns out they've heard it this whole time and had no idea what it was. Now that they know, they've also reported her to the landlord. The banging has stopped. We don't expect her lease to be renewed, and we may end up in a better apartment in the next couple months. I want to clarify that she made direct threats to me when I apologized and told her we'd take care of it. That was the first time she met me, and all I did was apologize and say we'd fix it. She was never trying to be friendly and work it out. We've never engaged her. We've never provoked her. The second story is, my grandfather made a Karen cry. Okay, so for a little bit of backstory, I've always been in severe pain after I eat for hours. I've had a history of acid reflux since I was young, but it had recently gotten worse, so I went to the doctor and found out I have GERD and some pretty bad ulcers in my esophagus from it. Another important detail is that I help my grandmother a lot because she's going through chemotherapy, so I'm very conscious about wearing a mask when I'm out. Sorry for all that. Now on to the story and cast. Cast: me, grandfather who drove me, G, pharmacist P, and of course Karen K. After a long doctor's appointment that my grandfather was nice enough to drive me to and from, I was given a new prescription, but of course my insurance changed where I can pick up my medicine. My very delightful grandfather who drove me to the doctor offered to drive me to the pharmacy to pick up meds, so I wouldn't have to leave the house again and drive to the pharmacy. I accepted because all I wanted to do is go home and sleep. We arrived at the pharmacy and I went right to the counter to tell them my name and any other information they need, while my grandfather looked at compression socks for my grandmother. And they say romance is dead. Then cue Karen. She looked like the classic Karen yoga pants 3 sizes too small, some god-awful sequin shirt, a MAGA hat, ugly puffer trench coat, and to top off the whole look, no mask. After she enters the pharmacy, she decides to stand way closer than she should have even been before COVID, and I politely told her, "Ma'am, you're not wearing a mask. Could you please back away from me?" Note there are pieces of tape on the floor, so you know where to stand. Her response was to very loudly say, "Okay, L," while getting even closer to me. When she said that, however, it got the attention of the person being helped at the counter in front of me and the P. The P told K, "You need to wear a mask or leave. No mask, no service." K, "Oh, shut the heck up. I'm a valuable customer." P, "I can give you a mask if you don't have one, but if you refuse to wear one, you'll have to leave." As she says this, the person in front of me leaves, and I walk up. K then shouts, "I'm not going to wear a GD mask. Now stop harassing me." Now this is when my grandfathering the other side of the pharmacy takes notice, but all he does is pop his head out from the end cap, and we exchanged a thumbs up. P, "Ma'am, please, just wear a mask." She then places one on the counter, and then asks me for my information. Halfway through me giving my information, K comes very close to me, to the point that I can feel the wind when she decides once again to scream. "Did you not hear me? I'm not going to wear a mask, and you," pointing her wrinkled, disfigured finger in my face, almost touching me, "need to get the heck out of my way. I have things to do." Now, I normally stay out of arguments as much as I can, but like I said before, I just wanted to go home and sleep, so not my best moment, but I slightly raised my voice above talking and said, "Ma'am, please either back away from me or put on the mask." And this is when G walks over to see what's happening. My G is an ex-Navy Master Chief and is the definition of short Irish temper, and also happens to be very protective of me, because I'm the firstborn female grandchild. In my family, it's important if you're the oldest and a female, because you'll have to take care of the elderly, sick, and the younger children of the family, and the only grandchild who lives nearby, but isn't still in elementary school. Kay then yells back while also cornering me between the pharmacy counter and a wall, and goes, "I don't have to listen to a thing you say, you stupid L." QG, "Listen here, you sorry excuse for a human being. You clearly have no respect for other people, so I'll have absolutely none for you too. You have such a dense skull that you can't even acknowledge that many people have died from this virus because of stupid people like you. And unless you're blind and deaf, you heard the lady and my granddaughter tell you to wear a mask. And I know you saw the sign to wear a mask, so either put the D thing on or leave." Both the P and I are in shock of what just happened, and then all of a sudden K burst into tears, hysterically sobbing, reluctantly grabs the mask, and slowly walks out of the pharmacy still sobbing. My grandfather, in the sweetest old man voice and smiling with his eyes, asks, "You get your meds yet, doll?" I shake my head no, and then proceed to give my information to the P. I get my meds and we check out with them, some compression socks and flowers for my grandmother. After we get back in my G's truck, I thank him, and we drive back to my grandparents' place, so I can take care of my grandmother and nap. And the last story is, I do work here, but thanks for the offer anyway. So my mom works in a pizzeria, which is located in the heart of Tuscany, Italy. The place is nice and cozy and offers a wide variety of food, including pizza, pasta, and seafood dishes. So today my mom was returning from her other job. She also works as a nurse, and as per instructions given to her by my stepdad, was taking out a number of provisions, which would be used in the restaurant. As she was unloading the truck by the storage facility not far from the restaurant, two young women approached her. I'll refer to them as W1 and W2, and Mom as M. W1. Excuse me, do you know if there are any free tables in the restaurant? M. Oh yes, there are. W2. She sounds foreign. Foreigners don't work in restaurants, so she probably has no idea if there are any free tables. M. Actually, I do work in the restaurant, and I can confirm there are free tables there. W1. But you are foreign. How do the owners treat you? M. I manage. W1. In this case, I may have an offer for you. We have a small restaurant which is 50 kilometers from here. If you need a job, here's my card. Do not hesitate to call me. So the two women went into the restaurant, and from what my mom could recall, they had pizza and a salad, along with some Coke. By the time they finished their meal, they called upon the waitress K to ask for the check. W2. May you bring the check, please? K. That's okay. You don't need to pay for these. W1. Excuse me? K. They're on the house. Compliments of the owner. W1. Thank you. Is it possible to ask the owners to come so we can thank them personally? K. Certainly. Out of nowhere, my mom comes and approaches them. M. Greetings. You wanted to talk to me? W1. In a moment. We're waiting for the owner. M. So it's me you can talk to. I am the owner. She didn't pretend to be the owner. She and my stepdad do own the place. The women were flabbergasted. W1. We're so sorry about earlier. We thought… M. You thought that just because I was a foreigner I'd be poor? Not all of us are like that. But I wanted to thank you anyway. I really appreciate the offer you gave me earlier. So, if you wish, we may collaborate on future projects together. Here's my card. If I may help you with anything, do not hesitate to call me. After they left, my mom shot me a WhatsApp message saying, "You have no idea what just happened to me." We had a nice laugh over it. What I love the most is that he played the Uno reverse card on them, and yet remained wholesome. There's a reason why she's my hero. Hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.